You guys want to watch some more drama? xQc destroys Pokimane again, so she calls hasanabi.
Oh, nah. Oh, nah. What's my name? Listen.
Oh, nah.
Listen.
Alrighty, we actually get a cam view of Pokimane now.
I'm not even mobbed, okay? I'm not kidding. I'm not mobbed, okay? I'm just telling you, okay?
I don't think you're mobbed either.
The things you're pointing at, if you're gonna go there, you gotta send it. Otherwise, you gotta send it. I'm just telling you.
So for a little bit of context for people who are coming into this and don't understand the drama, Pokimane went off on Twitter a couple times calling out xQc and kind of pointing towards his $100 million deal that he signed with live streaming platform Kick that is backed by a platform called Stake, which does crypto gambling. There's a lot of people who will say that like if you're on Kick, you're kind of promoting gambling or you're incentivizing your viewers to gamble because there is an argument to be made. I think there's a little bit of legitimacy to it that if you stream on Kick or that the main purpose of kick.com as a live streaming platform is to kind of funnel people into gambling. And I do think there's a little bit of an argument to be made there. I don't know what percentage of people that come over to Kick actually start also gambling, but there's a lot of moral and ethical questions around gambling, obviously. So that's kind of where this conversation has started. So Pokimane's made some comments online publicly, kind of not necessarily directly shaming xQc because she'll say like, oh, get the bag. I don't blame you for signing the $100 million deal, but also kind of saying that like she would never take the deal because she doesn't want to, what's the word? She doesn't want to not stick to her morals and ethics, right? She doesn't want to give up her morals, what she feels is her morals, and sign with a gambling platform and take that money because it's kind of murky waters in terms of like what's right and wrong. And I kind of get that argument too, but she's also been, in my personal opinion, kind of cringy with the way she's been like, not virtue signaling, but like grandstanding where she's like, I personally would never take a deal like that. I don't know how people can take deals like that. I would feel so shitty about myself. Does anybody else feel that way? You know what I mean? So she's not like directly just like shitting on xQc, but she's kind of just like in a weird way talking down about it. Like, look how awesome I am with my morals. And then look what all these other people are doing. So I get the argument. That's kind of what's spawning all of this. And now they're in a call together and they're going to hash it out. And hasanabi's going to join it. It's going to be a great time.
You're being debated right
now.
No. Really bad.
No.
Wait, let me, just hear me out. Hear me out and then you can fully disagree, okay?
I wish we had xQc's chat or Pokimane's chat up on screen right now.
Whatever clip you saw, let me tell you in its entirety what I said. If me personally, if I switch to Kick, that would very clearly be hypocritical.
Hi, Mr.
and
How
a move
can I
that
get
I
a
do
welcome to
only
the
for money, right? Considering the stances that I've taken in the past against crypto gambling, etc.
Okay,
right?
but what's the link?
I was saying, for me, I think that would be a bad look. But for X, someone who's always been for that, it makes more sense. That's all I.
Yeah, you see.
But it wasn't really all that she said, in all fairness. I wish I had access to the original clip. I don't want to go on Twitter right now to try to find it. But if you go looking for it, you'll probably find it. And she comes off kind of in the way that I just described. And the thing is, to Pokimane's credit, I believe her. She totally does have morals, and I'm not saying this sarcastically. She's somebody who would have been very successful if she created an OnlyFans, and she stuck to her guns on that. She could have easily, definitely more than doubled her income if she created an OnlyFans, but she didn't do that. So she definitely has morals, and I respect her for sticking to that. But again, it's the weird, like, look at me and all this moral high ground that I take. I can't imagine other people that would compromise their morals or do these things that are ethically shady just to get the bag. I can't even, it's that shit.
The main problem that happened with that initially, right, is that the whole idea. So people, I think it's a very, very low hanging fruit to go with the argument of like linking Kick to gambling because a lot of people are doing it, right? And it makes a lot of sense because oh guys, it's some of the management and some of the people from Stake. So
that's their entire funding.
Okay, right. So are you for inhumane conditions for working and
yeah,
no union?
Okay, so what xQc is talking about here is the fact that Twitch is owned by Amazon, and Amazon doesn't have a great history of treating their workers properly. So he's basically making like a whataboutism here, saying that like, oh yeah, well you say Stake and Kick.com are so bad. Well, what about Amazon? And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can play this whataboutism game. I do get Pokimane's point though, to an extent, right? Where it's just kind of like, there is an argument to be made that when xQc signs this $100 million deal, probably part of that $100 million is he's going to be incentivized or required to do some sort of gambling on stake.com while he's live streaming on Kick, right? Like he is going to have to do some gambling streams. That's almost 100% guaranteed. And when he does those gambling streams, there's more than likely going to be somebody who's going to start gambling because of watching xQc that wouldn't have otherwise gotten into it and lead themselves down a dark path, waste a lot of money, maybe put themselves in a little bit of a financial hole. We hope that's the worst of it, right? You guys know, if you look at the numbers, gambling, really high unaliving rate. People can really, really, really fuck their lives up getting into gambling. It's a serious addiction, and I understand being hesitant about live streaming on a taking a deal like this and live streaming on a platform like Kick because you don't want to be incentivizing that to your audience. But then you also beg the question of like, how much responsibility does xQc actually have to his audience? How much responsibility does he have as a streamer, right? He's somebody who pulls tens of thousands, easily upwards of like 50,000 viewers a stream. Is that his fault? Should he not do it because of that? There's going to be plenty of other people that also live stream on Kick. Again, it's this weird, like, shady gray area, and I don't even really know where I fall on the whole thing. If I was offered $100 million to stream on Kick, I would take the deal in a heartbeat. Like, that's life-changing, generational changing money. I don't see how like you could justify not doing that, you know, unless your net worth is already like $200 million and it just doesn't matter to you, then I don't know. But like this whole whataboutism, it just doesn't really feel like a great argument on X's end, in my opinion.
And all of that, are you for that? Is that where your morals land?
I get it, dude. But proximity to those kinds of things matters a little. Is Amazon perfect? No. But what is this whataboutism?
Huh?
And listen, that's your take, right? You're saying for you, maybe Gamba a little bit bad, Amazon a little bit bad, so you're comfortable doing all, right? For me personally, I've taken such a strong stance against what Stake does. For me to take money that comes literally directly from crypto gambling would be so silly.
Okay. And I feel like once I win the argument there, and you're just gonna go post back to saying, well, it's the unregulated one. Oh, there's some on Twitch? Well, these aren't as big. And well, Twitch is on trying to ban these ones. And well, and it seems like we're always moving the goalpost somewhere else when the argument's gonna lose track.
I feel like this argument's super easy. Pokimane isn't wrong in anything that she's saying. I don't think X is wrong for taking the deal. What I think Pokimane's wrong in is like projecting her moral grandstanding onto other people, right? I think that's just what's making people feel icky about the whole thing. She's not wrong, and I respect her for having morals, and she can do that. But it's the issue is the way she talks about it. The issue is she's like, I would never compromise my morals. Do you understand how me signing with a platform like Kick would look so bad because I've taken such a strong stance against gambling in the past because it ruins people's lives? Do you want to ruin people's lives? You know, she doesn't directly say that last bit, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? It's just like, okay, we get it. Yes, you're awesome, blah, blah, blah. I respect her for it. But again, it's the way it'd be kind of like if you like, I don't know, donated a lot of money to charity and then like you went around like multiple times talking to people about how like awesome you were for doing that. It just kind of makes people feel a little bit weird.
I think that's what this has been about pretty much. That was the only problem.
I've seen a lot of people say like moving the goalpost. My whole point with what I said is just saying that the goalpost has remained the same for me. I personally don't want to be affiliated with crypto gambling. I'm not for it. Do I love gambling in general? No, but I don't want that issue to become worse. That's it. So actually, the goalpost has remained the fucking same for me. If I started,
it's just the way she says it. She just has to. This is how Pokimane should have said it on her live stream. Because most likely the way this happened is somebody came, you know, xQc signed a $100 million deal. Then somebody came to Pokimane's chat and was like, "Hey, would you ever sign a Kick?" Or, "Hey, has Kick approached you with a live streaming deal?" All she would have had to say is something like this. Because most likely she definitely was approached by Kick for a live streaming deal, right? All she has to say is, I don't really feel comfortable taking money from a company that generates all their revenue from crypto gambling. That's just not really something that I want to do, right? Instead, I feel like I just got to find the fucking clip now in order to give like proper context to all this. Okay, here's the clip.
Nope.
So she's reacting to a comment right here where somebody goes, "Would you change to Kick for a $10 million deal? Would you sign with Kick for $10 million?" What's up, Timmy?
no, and it's not because I got like $10 million. It's just because I'm good as I am. Why would I compromise my morals and ethics for more money when I have money? Something about that is so cringe to me personally. Like I understand, you know, if you need to make money, right? For me to do cringe shit when I have I can't. Like, ew. Can someone put this into words better than I can?
Again, I respect her for having morals. I genuinely do. And that's awesome. But she doesn't have to give it off in this tone. It's just kind of gross. It's just like, ugh. Why would I do this cringe shit when I already have money? I already have money, and xQc already has money. Why would I compromise morals to do that? You know? Anyways, there's the context. You guys can take away from it.
Then all of a sudden I'm like, well, Kick isn't Stake in and of itself, so it's okay. That would be the goalpost change.
Yeah, okay.
And again, in Pokimane's defense too, doing the whataboutism to compare Kick.com to Amazon is just terrible. Those are not one-to-one, right? What we're arguing is if you think that Kick.com is a funnel to get people into crypto gambling or just gambling in general, right? Crypto gambling has a much higher chance of ruining somebody's life than somebody spending $20 on a blender on Amazon, right? Like you can argue that Amazon as a company doesn't treat their workers well, but if we're talking about, I think what the argument is here, like I wouldn't want to jeopardize the trust that my audience has in me, or I wouldn't want to be responsible for bringing my audience over to a platform that is then most likely going to result in one of them ruining their lives with crypto gambling, right? Nobody's ruining their life over the existence of Amazon.com. You can definitely make the argument, though, that people are ruining their lives over like online crypto gambling.
Yeah, I think that in it of itself, for your thing, kind of makes sense. I don't think that's what the goalpost was at. But okay, listen. I think the main point in all of this is that you weren't there in those talks, so I get you're working with less information overall, right? And I think you're making conclusions that are a bit too quick, right? Because
please tell me, what are these conclusions? How are they wrong?
Okay.
Like, I'm more than happy to know.
So you know something called like a roadmap. You know, there's a roadmap and there's a game that makes updates. Like they have a content roadmap. You know what that means?
Yes, they're planned as
Yeah,
a company.
a roadmap,
I know what a roadmap is.
Right.
I've co-founded 2 companies.
Okay, so the roadmap for the website and the roadmap that I was in talks with, right? At first I was kind of like in the same idea as yours, right? And I started understanding that is not the goal, not the plan, and that is not the direction that they're going, and probably never will.
So I think what you're trying to say is that they are not looking to continuously profit off of crypto gambling. You know, they want to create other revenue streams. They want more of their revenue to come from perhaps streamers or subscriptions.
Oh shit, Stake always will. I'm sure Stake will, right? I'm sure that website will not. Stake will not become some charity thing. No, that will always remain gambling. But what I'm saying is that the web.
What are we arguing?
Huh? Because Stake isn't Kick. Do you not understand what I'm saying? Is that Kick is Kick. This is like it's a project. It's a thing that they're doing.
If Stake
Yeah,
why is Stake funding them in their entirety?
Wait.
Are they
okay.
different things? Yeah, but you can't just ignore the link between them.
Okay. Let's say I'm a lottery winner. I win lottery. All the gamblers, they buy lottery tickets. I win the whole thing. I win $1 billion. I put half the 500 mil into making a competitor website. Are my endeavors clouded by Gamba? Are my things delegitimized by it? Is there a budget for
Stake did not hit the lottery. I don't think that's a fair analogy whatsoever.
I don't think that's a fair analogy at all. So the analogy that he's trying to make, that xQc is trying to highlight, is he's trying to say that like, oh, is it just because Kick.com was created with money that was generated through crypto gambling? And the answer is no. I do think there's a fairly legitimate argument to be made that Kick.com is going to be used to a certain extent to ideally have some percentage of the user base get into gambling. There's a term in business called LTV, or lifetime value of a customer. Gambling lifetime value of a customer is incredibly high, right? You can think about like, I don't know, the lifetime value for like, I'm trying to think of a product that wouldn't have a high lifetime value. Anything that you buy once that you wouldn't be expected to buy over and over and over again has a really low LTV, right? The higher the LTV, that's a really successful business model, right? Look at a company like HelloFresh, right? Like they deliver food to your door. That's going to have a really high lifetime value because ideally, if a customer signs up for HelloFresh, they're going to stay subscribed and continue to pay HelloFresh, continue to pay for the service, continue to have food sent to their door, right? That's why you'll see HelloFresh give you like 3 months or 6 months of like free food or super crazy discounts, because they know that if they can get you hooked, you'll stay subscribed and they'll make a lot more money off of you long term. Gambling is one of those things where they can make a lot of money off of you over the course of your entire life, because if they can get you hooked on gambling, you'll spend every cent that you fucking have on gambling. So I don't think it's far-fetched to think that Kick.com as a business model is most likely looking to funnel some users that come over to Kick over to Stake. Stake.com isn't advertised directly anywhere on Kick, but you know, gambling streams are always going to be a super popular category on Kick just by the nature of the fact that gambling streams aren't allowed anywhere else. It's going to be, it's also true, right, that like that's part of why the $100 million deal that xQc had, right? Like it's most likely a $70 million base pay with $30 million in incentives. And part of those $30 million in incentives is probably going to be some of it is going to be him gambling. He's going to be given some pool of money to gamble with on stream. On Stake. And again, it's like, it's one of those things where like, but then again, we get to the whole conversation of like, how much responsibility does xQc have to his audience? Is it necessarily his fault? Should he not take the bag because of that? People are going to be doing it regardless. I get all those arguments. I really do. But it's just a weird situation, man.
However, Stake made the lottery.
Okay, but at that point, if somebody uses the fund that they have, right, a portion of it to make it a project that is on its own, it's a standalone project to be a competitor of Twitch. Why?
You can't compare one person hitting the lottery to to a company that owns a crypto gambling website.
Okay.
That's just not a fair analogy.
So since you're all about the numbers, I'm sure you know how much money the people actually made off that website, right?
I don't. How would I know that?
Do
you know? It's clearly over 100 million.
It's pretty public. Yeah, they have a lot of money. And you understand that the project is not a crazy amount in comparison, right? The whole thing is not a lot in comparison. It's like a fun project, right? And from my understanding, having talked, not the train, not the degenerates, actual people at the top, right? They want to make a good product. That's it. They want to make
for them. That's great.
Okay. And when the product is standalone from Gamba and nothing is linked directly to it in whatever fucking capacity that you want to make, and the people that are signed, nobody does Gamba, everybody signs to just make content and be about live stream, then what the fuck is the problem?
I would want to know, okay, so I follow everything X says, and I don't think he makes bad points. If he can say that his $100 million deal that he signed with Kick doesn't involve any gambling, right? If none of the money that he's getting paid, if his contract doesn't require him to do any sort of gambling on stream, then I'd say I'm on his side at this point. But if it does, then I think the argument he just gave kind of falls apart.
I'm not trying to tell you, objectively or not, if Kick is a problem, okay? I'm just saying personally, the position that I hold in this industry, the things that I've stood for and against in the past, I personally would not make that change due to where the money that is funding Kick and all of the streamers that it signs exclusively comes from. I am not okay with that root source and the proximity to it. That's it. And if someone else wants to make a different decision or the website becomes good and people enjoy it, that's great.
Well,
here's one thing that I also really don't understand. I'll keep this quick because I know I keep pausing the video a ton. I wonder what Kick's long-term goal is to make money. The CEO of Kick has already publicly stated that they're not going to reduce the 95-5 split for creators, which is awesome, right? The fact that creators can take home 95% of the revenue that they generate is amazing, especially when you compare it to Twitch's 50-50 rev split, right? The fact that if I pay $5 to subscribe to a streamer on Kick and that streamer only gets $2.50 of that revenue, that's absurd. That's terrible. YouTube has a 70-30 revenue split, which is much better. And then Kick's 95-5 is like almost unprecedented, right? That's not enough to sustain the platform. They're not going to be able to, keep the platform up just based off of that 5% that they take from people, right? So then the other option would be, oh, okay, so they must be hoping to, at some point, incorporate advertising, right? Sell ads, just like every other social media platform does, right? The problem is, though, Fortune 500 companies aren't going to touch a platform that's riddled with gambling. They're not going to do it. You are going to have some advertisers. There's going to be some companies that don't mind advertising on a platform like Kick that has a lot of gambling, right? Or that's affiliated with gambling. But Toyota and Coca-Cola aren't going to buy or spend big ad budgets on Kick.com if like the top 5 out of like 20 streamers on the platform are just streaming gambling. Even if gambling is like just sprinkled throughout the platform, they're just not going to do it because gambling is just one of those moral, ethical things that like advertisers don't want to touch. It's a weird, ethical, moral, shady, gray middle ground. You know, people have different opinions on it. And so advertisers aren't going to touch it. So if they're not going to be making their revenue off of the 5% split they're going to be taking, and they're not going to be making revenue off of the advertising that they sell, how does Kick plan to become profitable? Unless they can build out some like content system like what YouTube has where they can separate the advertising, right? Like advertisers are only going to come to Kick if they know for certain that their ads are never going to be placed next to any gambling content. So if Kick somehow has a way to like separate and delegate that content out, and can guarantee that that's separate, then advertisers aren't going to touch the platform. And it would have to be something better than like, just don't run ads under any category that's labeled as gambling, because somebody could put themselves underneath the Fortnite category, right? Like I could just go on Kick right now, change my game to Fortnite and then stream gambling, right? So there would have to be a more robust system in place on Kick. And from what I understand, that would require a lot more infrastructure from, if YouTube's anything to go off of, right?
I'm just speaking personally to me.
Yeah, and I get that. Except then you spoke for me, saying I'm okay with those things when I'm not okay with that concept. The way you put it, it's not even why I was in it to begin with. So like you can just spoke for me.
What concept are you not okay with?
Oh, that I'm somehow like morally bankrupt for the decision that I made or whatever. Because
I didn't call you morally bankrupt. I said
she this
is where my morals and ethics stood in the past, and it would be weird for me to change my stance on them just being offered multi-million-dollar contract. I specifically said for you you did partnerships with Stake. You've always been okay with that, right? If you think that's morally void, that's you.
And then I was also after learning and in talks, I've understood that I genuinely believe, and I wouldn't have signed it if this was a whole 2 gamble operation. I don't think you understand. I would have never signed it because
Does your contract have a stipulation?
Nope,
that
zero.
Says you need to
if you want, if you sign an NDA, I'll show the entire thing, right? And I'll give you the right.
That's fun.
And I'll give you the right to say whether or not there's anything of gambling in it.
That's kind of fun.
Be careful though. When there's NDA though, it means that you can't say shit about anything, which is kind of, you have to be careful. Because
I didn't know that.
Well, I'm just saying that.
Yeah, of course.
I would give you the right to say that there's no gamble at the end. That's it.
Well, that answers my question earlier. I should just shut up and listen to the video.
If that's the truth. Otherwise, not. Sounds fair enough?
I mean, sure.
Okay, let's do that then.
First NDA pog.
Wow. If that's true, that's crazy. That actually is pretty crazy. That his $100 million deal doesn't involve any gambling. That's kind of nuts.
Okay.
Regardless, do you now understand what I was saying and how it's not only that it was impersonal towards you. actually separated it in a way where it's like, that does not make xQc bad because his opinion has been the same from the start.
Yeah.
Just like my opinion has been the same from the start.
I just feel like I just feel like if since you don't have the vision, you don't understand it, right? Is that you don't say things like, oh, like it's about my dignity and whatever about your thing. It's because when you say, oh, for me,
I don't think it's a jealousy thing. I'm just reading through the comments. I don't think it's a jealousy thing from Pokimane. It's not like she's upset that she doesn't get a piece of the pie. Because again, if she wanted a live streaming deal with Kick, she could easily get one. MK, what's up, man? I don't think that's the issue at all. I think it's purely a moral thing, and it's just weird the way that she talked about it. I also don't think she's worried about Twitch, ending her relevancy, because she's a successful content creator. She'll be able to take herself wherever. There's a lot of content creators on Kick. If Kick, on Twitch, if Twitch imploded, all those content creators would need to go somewhere. Pokimane wouldn't lose her following or whatever. She would still have a very successful career. We're watching a video called xQc destroys Pokimane again, so she calls hasanabi. xQc and Pokimane are basically debating the moralness of xQc's $100 million sign with
more
Kick.com.
ethic for me, dignity, and then for him, blah blah blah.
People always argue jealousy when people speak out about stuff like this. Yeah, it's not a jealous thing at all.
By implication, it's kind of like shots fired that I don't have those things. That's just kind of how it is. Like by default, it's how you're gonna sound.
I totally understand how it might sound that way, but that wasn't my intention. And the reason I mentioned you is so that it would make it clear that I am speaking to how it would look for me specifically.
What?
Your dignity kind of goes down when your opinion changes based on how much money someone's willing to give you. But for you, right, that should not be applicable or the case because you have stood by it the whole way through. So I don't know why you or anyone else would implicate yourself like the shoe doesn't fit, right? It shouldn't fit.
Okay, inherently that does make sense. I think just the way you word it kind of implies it by default. So like it kind of does make sense.
What up, Resulter?
Honestly, I thought that the way I worded it might implicate that too, which is why I tried to call out you as an example where it makes sense for you, but it wouldn't make sense for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. Especially the dignity part, though. I feel like
Also, I think your viewers are whispering my subs and harassing them. If
chat, don't do that. Don't do
maybe that
shit.
could not happen. That would let's be for real. Also, me and X, we're friendly enough that we can just hop on a call. It's gonna be okay. Okay, we can all relax a little bit.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it did sound.
And also, X, I'm sure throughout your career there has been a lot of people who maybe like say one thing to you and then say some shit on stream. Like, I've been there, done that. I don't want to be one of those people. So if it ever seems that way, let's just talk it out.
Yeah, fair enough. No. I mean that doesn't make sense. Okay, so. The only problem is that it's always by implication, and something that Hassan does a lot. That's all. It does that a lot. I did that a last couple days. It's always by implication.
I am not Hassan.
I know. Well, it does sound like that to people, and then people build this. Because let me tell you. Because listen. Everything I do in life is all in, right? And I know for a fact that at our points in I guess wealth or money, you understand that if there's not something that makes you feel fulfilled, no matter how much money you have, you're gonna be fucking miserable, right? And it's why it took so many months for me to consider this deal initially, because I had to believe in the project. I had to believe that it was something that could be doable. If I had a part in making it successful and making it a competitor and actually coming out on top, that was like super like how would you call that? Like, holy fuck. Even if the stream part ends up not being too crazy, what about it? I don't think it matters that much, because I want to make decisions and do cool shit that's like, it's like almost like a passion project. And the passion itself that I have in the project is enough self-fulfillment, right? That money can't buy, right? And that's something that on Twitch I haven't had in a long time.
Yeah, I understand. Listen, dude, you don't have to justify your decision to me or anyone else.
Well, I'm just telling you.
I feel like you feel the need to, and I'm sure there are a lot of people attacking you over it right now. It's cool.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I'm not one of them.
No,
I was saying, maybe if Hassan takes the Kick deal, that might be a little weird.
Nah, he wouldn't. I already asked him when I was visiting your house, asking if he wanted to, and he said he wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm talking about me, my stand. That's it.
Oh, I mean, you're locked the fuck in. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I know your contract's probably good for another year, probably like 8 months. I mean, it is what it is. Listen, it's just what it is. Even if you want to swap, you wouldn't be able to, right?
Well, as you said, contracts end. So also tell me if you agree or disagree. For people being like, oh, you're just upset that X got the deal and not you. Wouldn't it make more sense if I wanted a deal to not be talking the way that I am? Because as you said, maybe my contract's up in like 6 months. Shouldn't I be sucking up to kick if I want a deal?
Oh, you don't have to explain it to me. You don't have to say that to me. You have to justify it to me. Same mentality here applies, but at the same time, it's like if you're locked in, I mean, you're locked in, right? Like, I don't know how long your agreement is.
Not forever, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I know. Because I know for a fact. I mean, listen, this isn't like a corporate secret. Like, everybody knows this. It's like deals are scarce and
Scarce.
Amazon tries to, like Amazon's been trying to get like money under investments without it being like a money sink. So it's been like harder on that end.
Yeah.
And
there aren't that many good deals like there were before.
Yeah, the deals are pretty much gone. But
so I promise you, if this was about money, I would be acting very differently.
Yeah. It's why even at the time, I don't like talking shit that much about.
Does Hasan not join this video?
People trying to people try to do other things, because at the end of the day, you want things to be better, right? Like, people want things to be better, and everybody knows that, and you should know, 100% that at the high tier of streaming or whatever, you start to understand that complacency is trash, and then there's no innovation. People get lazy, people get whatever, and after that, it's like things don't get better. And that applies for massive platforms also. Like,
honestly, like, you are not special, even if you're at the top.
Yeah, exactly. That's just kind of how it is. So then. So that was the main point. And
Aaron, what's
Hasan's
up?
been talking shit too. Okay.
How so? Should we add him to this call?
Sure, I'm to the call.
He
Yeah.
messaged me, so
That motherfucker
have a little fun.
is snaking out, man. Deadass.
Let's talk about it.
Oh no, where's the next part, dude? God, why would you fucking title it this? And then that's so annoying. That's so annoying, dude. It's just a clickbait dumbass title. Literally cut off the part right before he fucking joins. Whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Chad, any thoughts? You guys have any thoughts? I'm gonna scroll through the comments here real quick. Remember, Pokimane says she doesn't care that much. Well, of course she's gonna care. If Poki was the one who signed a $100 million deal and xQc started criticizing her, she'd say he's misogynistic and that women can do what they want. She can't handle anyone being more successful than her. What she does, that's just not true. She keeps cutting him off and being so condescending. It's actually crazy. I'd lose my shit. I don't think she was really cutting him off. Her whole argument is based on Kick being owned by Stake and them supporting inhuman crypto gambling, but it completely falls apart when Twitch is owned by Amazon. Yeah, that's a dog shit comparison. That's just not a good comparison at all. She's gonna go down the drain with Twitch. She's jealous and that's how she's venting. Listen, dude, people do this weird thing. And I know as like viewers of a platform, people don't necessarily care, but you should. And content creators definitely care. Competition is great, and you should be cheering it on. We should not be cheering for the death of Twitch. The less live streaming platforms we have, the worse it becomes for everybody, because then a platform doesn't feel like they have to innovate, right? I would make the argument that YouTube would be a much better platform than it is today if they actually had a real competitor, but they don't, right? Like, nobody comes close to competing with YouTube.com. There's no alternative to YouTube.com. Live streaming, though, in the live streaming space, we're starting to actually have some like real competition. Twitch was kind of at the top for a long time. YouTube added live streaming. Facebook got into the live streaming gaming space. Now we have Kick, right? It makes everything a lot more exciting for people. We shouldn't be rooting for the downfall of Twitch, because all that does is just force people into a fewer, it just reduces the amount of options that people have and reduces the incentive that these platforms have to actually innovate and do better shit. He should instead focus solely on the silliness of Pokimane, talking about her strong stances to achieve being morally, ethically sound person, while that not being reflected with her own affiliations, right? But again, there's a big difference between like streaming on Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, versus, again, like it's a lot harder to make the argument that Kick doesn't, I don't know, dude, unless somebody could make the argument that like Kick isn't necessarily trying to funnel people into gambling. That's got to be part of their business model, right? That just has to be. Or else how does Kick become profitable? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they've got a long runway, right? Because they could probably keep them afloat for a long time, but yeah, I don't know. Will you stream on Kick? I'm live on Kick right now. That's what's crazy. Just 0 people, but I'm live. I'm over there. I co-founded 2 companies. Then she goes on to say that your fundings and where they come from is just what makes your company's identity. I founded and co-founded 34 companies, saying that the way she did, clearly trying to sound smart and acknowledge about the topic. No, dumbass. She was saying it because xQc was like, do you know what a roadmap is? Which, like, I don't know. again, I'm not gonna like, that's not like I hate to throw around like the term mansplaining because I don't think that's what he was doing. I think that's just kind of how X is. But like, it is kind of like a dumbass question to ask somebody like Pokimane, do you know what a roadmap is? It's like, you should assume that somebody like Pokimane knows what a roadmap is, in the same way that he just like assumed that Pokimane knows what an NDA is, you know? Like he did the exact same thing again. It's not like, that's why she said that.